I have started recording.
Okay.
Morning, everybody.
All right.
So I mean, we can't say anything bad about Jim now?
No, you can say anything you want. It's just going to be recorded.
Okay, so it's good to see Pete on, and we've got Gil, welcome, and Lou and Cindy, the other Charlie,
Hello.
and someone says it says Valerie. I don't recognize Valerie. Oh, Valerie just disappeared. And Ross says Ross Meredith, welcome. George,
Hello.
Valerie's back.
Valerie's back, and Brent, and Jack instead of Carolyn.
Hi, this is Lindsay Cattell, but I'm signed on as Valerie. I can't figure out how to change that.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
That Lindsay Kittle.
Yes, it is.
Hi. Thanks for signing up for the decal class.
No problem. I'm gonna check it out. Learn something.
Glad to have you.
I tried to sign up for the decal class and it wouldn't go through. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if you want to come, I'll get an extra table.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you. Thank you.
I sold some stuff out of my wood shop, so I've got room. I can put up another table. We'll still be under.
Really?
So Kevin, you're the person making the presentation today, aren't you?
Yes, I am. So
And I
you'll
made-
need to,
I made you a co-host so that when we get there, you should be able to share.
okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, let's get started officially. I know you're recording already. Let's just go around real quick to see what everyone's been up to. I just started off. I mentioned I did after the 3D clinic, I did a new throttle holder. Anyone who has the new 602, it doesn't fit in regular throttle holders. It's a little bit bigger. So this one, it fits. So I think that's pretty cool. I'll get it up on the layout soon.
So Jim, you said on the Facebook group, what
Yeah,
is,
I'm on a couple Facebook groups. One's a 3D model railroad group.
can you send a link to that?
Yeah, I'll do that after the meeting gets started. I'll put it in the chat. Jeff, what have you been up to? Are you still with us? Let's skip on. Let's go over to Rex.
Oh, well, I've been just trying to beat this MRSA that I've been on. Hopefully they'll take out the pick line this week.
Okay.
I'll be doing better, but I'm feeling better and looking forward to get back to the downstairs.
Okay, good. How about you, Jack? Can you hear me, Jack? You have to unmute.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, Jeff's back.
Let's see. I'm trying to unmute here.
You're unmuted.
You're unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, he combed his hair for us. Great.
Like the mad scientist look better.
What have you been up to in the last month, Jeff?
I'm starting to build another time saver, this time with 2-inch foam as the primary base. Trying to make it lighter so that, because the one I have is 8 foot long and it's a bear for one guy to move around. And I had it built originally to so I could hook onto any NMRA modular group.
Oh yeah.
That's why it was 8 foot long. And I've drawn 3 plans, and one of them is no connection to outside, and I can reduce the size down to 6 foot. With the foam, it's going to be real easy to move around.
Great.
And I've got all the pieces except the switches. Every kind of switch that I've looked for the Atlas custom line. I've looked at Pico, and they're all out of stock. And you can't even get the Atlas from the direct from the manufacturer. They just don't have them.
Wow.
So
Well, I know lots of people who can coach you on building your own.
Fast
yeah. But then I've got switches with wooden ties, and the rest is flex tracks, and I don't want to hand lay the whole damn thing.
It all blends together.
It does. Okay.
Yep.
Jim, you got all the fast tracks jigs, don't you?
No, I do a lot of them without jigs.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you want to order them from me, I'm back ordered as well. So anyway, moving on. Mike, what have you been up to?
I've been working on trying to get JMRI dispatcher to automatically dispatch trains, and I've got it to had some reasonable success. There's an enormous amount of help from the JMRI users group. So if I post a question up there and dump my panel file up there, somebody responds. Yesterday they responded with a fix for some problems. Some turnouts were flipping for reasons I didn't know. And so now I've got it so that a train engine can automatically take off clockwise and then reverse when it gets back, but then it stops for some reason. So it's endless detective work because you have to get everything set up just perfectly, and then it will automatically dispatch trains, which is pretty cool. So anybody that's got a computer hooked up and hasn't played with JMRI, it's worth taking a look at, but it's a big playground.
That's something I've really been interested in, but haven't gotten into yet. So I might talk to you more about that. That's cool. And as a note to everyone, the forums online are really helpful. Like I mentioned, the 3D group, and he's mentioned his JMRI. That people have lots of answers, and they're always willing to help. Moving on, Charlie Treft, we kind of heard a quick update. You've been ill. You're starting to feel a little better?
I'm starting to feel a little better. I'm doing hyperbaric therapy. Rex and I are tied to IVs also. They put one in me, Rex, so I'm enjoying it. That's why I'm not doing much. I am trying to keep up with a lot of things, but I just got to heal.
Yep.
Well, don't let him take it out early. I had on for 9 months, so I'm glad to go.
Wow. Hey, Jack's unmuted. Are you ready, Jack?
Yep, I think I can say that I've got nothing going on.
Well,
I've got a lot of stuff sorted.
well, that's good. That's the one step.
Jim?
Yes, Blaine.
Okay, I don't know if you recognize what this is. This is a tunnel liner,
Yeah.
3D.
Oh, cool.
This is a double portal. And I thought, gee, if this cost me $40, I thought maybe you could print one of these for me. If I could send you down the plan showing the curve, you could actually 3D print one that's only about 9 inches long.
I think my bed is only 8 inches, so I'd have to make it a little bit shorter.
That's fine, 7 inches would work. But the thing I like about it is the support behind the tunnel portal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's cool. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
I would probably do it less than 40.
That would help a lot.
$39.95.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Pete, what have you been up to?
I took my one surviving piece of my layout, and I've made it even shorter. It's now down to about 3 foot above the floor. But I did that because that's the sill height of the window that I have in the room that it's being rebuilt in. So I've also taken advantage of the fact that some of the stuff that was back up against the wall was never ballasted. So I've been ballasting that so that I won't have to crawl over the top of anything. But I mean, that's that and showing up at the train shop and finding out they're moving again and almost all the inventory in switches and crossovers and all the rest of that seems to be pretty much depleted. So
The train shop?
yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't heard, the train shop in Salt Lake is moving. Do you remember the address, Pete?
Oh, it's Gardner Village is what it is.
Oh, yeah. They're moving to Gardner Village, and then their train ride that they used to have indoors is not going to be outdoors.
So
And-
are they still open in their old location?
No.
Through the end of the month, through
Okay.
the 27th.
Yeah, and then starting in March, I'm not sure, March 1st or a couple days after.
Yeah, it's about the 5th, I think, something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They've got there's like a week or so in there where they're not going to be open.
Where is the Gardner Center?
Gardner Village, you know the historic Gardner Village?
No, I don't.
West Jordan.
Got it.
West Jordan.
Look up the Gardner Village train track station, and it's right across the street.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we had the ladies convention lunch or something for 2019.
Well, that's good to know. I was getting ready to go to the train shop today, so maybe I better.
Yeah, bring some extra money today. Maybe you can make a deal. Maybe you can buy something for a little bit less so they don't have to move it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff and Randy would do that, but the other guy doesn't. No sense of humor at all.
Yeah, well, I guess that's Jeff's brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they almost look like twins.
They do. Okay, Kevin, I know what you've been up to. Update everyone else.
Well, I had Lowell and Jim come over last weekend to do some evaluations for the AP. So been working on modules and that.
We were only there 5 hours, weren't we?
Exactly. I'll make it 8 next time.
Yeah. Well, and that's another point. Anyone who wants evaluations, we're willing to do 1 or 2 models at a time to make our stay a little bit shorter. But it's so far so good. I've heard back that he's got the materials and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will come back great. So I'm excited about that. Lou, what's your update for us?
Unmute here. I've been working on a HO scale church. My grandfather was a Methodist minister in Southern Illinois, and this is the Bodie, California church from I forgot the company. Is it Fuller Edgerly? Anyway, this is the interior that I have scratch built. I'm going to try to get that up there so you can see it. So added a lot, and this is the behind the pulpit, and I've added the wainscoting and the cross, and oops, sorry, let me get that. That's not very good, but anyway, I've been having fun with that. The other thing I discovered I'm going to share is if you do a lot of scratch building in plastic, to cut the styrene, trauma shears. So, and you can get those at just about any drugstore, or I got them too for like $8 on eBay. And they are super sharp and will cut the thinner. They won't do 040, but anything thinner than that, they will cut real easily. So I thought I'd pass that on for a little trick for you.
Yeah, cool. Rick.
Yes.
What have you been up to?
Let's see. I have been finishing my ON30 building, which hopefully in another month should be about ready for evaluation. January newsletter, I posted about a cast resin stock car that I got for Christmas from my lovely wife. And that's pretty close to being done, just some detail work. So I'll be posting some pictures on Facebook about that. And other than that, got in the mail yesterday a sound module for Bachmann diesel, 44-ton diesel. So I'm kind of excited to maybe get that in today and have some fun.
Cool. Now, Lou, I forgot to ask you, why are you doing it in HO when you normally don't you do in?
I do both actually,
Okay.
but primarily I'm in HO. But I'm doing a small N layout, kind of a time. Well, it's not exactly a time saver. A little switching layout. My new house here in California has a small shelf in the living room area. It's about 40 by 18. I thought H or N would look there. I used to be in N, so I've got tons of N stuff.
Okay. Sounds good. Dalen, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Mostly working on signaling, programming it, helping a few people. Another thing I've been kind of toying with that's kind of train related is studying on and research on bulk shipment transport on the Great Lakes. I've ran onto a couple of videos initially and kind of got me into looking at how that operation, especially the maritime industry, which is as historied as model trains is concerned, or excuse me, as railroading is concerned. So I've been kind of looking at that and seeing if maybe I might do a difference in operation in the future, but just kind of it kind of went in a different direction that my modeling really hadn't considered, and that is how that facet of commodity transport interrelates with railroading. It's quite historied and very well linked. So that's not much on the other fronts, and that's just been between fixing things and just daily grind. So not a lot.
Okay. Cindy, what have you been up to?
I have been learning fast tracks a little bit. So I'm up to my fourth turnout on that. And I think that I'm getting better each time.
Good.
And I'm trying to work on the module for the club. So we got that today. I'm going to be trying to get some wire up the switches. So
good luck with that. That's always fun and challenging. Okay. Cindy. Yeah.
Hi. So I don't really do any model railroading, so I don't have any updates on that front, but I am trying to recruit a new member to the division, and I think my membership has expired. I just realized. Who's doing membership?
Officially it's Lowell, but Jeff is the region membership, and he would be able to look that up, and he sends me reports so I can look it up too.
I'll call the office on Monday and do it over the phone.
Okay.
Can't believe no one called me.
Well, and that brings up a point, is that we are looking for a new membership chair for our division. It's not that much involved as far as what you need to do. But if anyone's interested, let me know. It's a way to, keep you involved in the division. You don't have to leave your house if you're worried about that. Just calling people and reminding them.
I nominate Cindy.
You nominate Cindy. And it can be more involved or less involved depending on how much you want to do with it. I've got a lot of ideas if you want to really take it a long way, what you can do to help involve more people. So reach out to me. Let me know if anyone on this call is interested, because we are looking for someone from our division. Thanks. George, what about you?
I've just been busy mostly at work, but also been building a Grand Valley Railroad downstairs. So I'm working on that.
Cool.
I don't know how to show pictures and stuff, so I wish I could, but
That's good. Well, you can. So for next time, you can email me a picture, and
Okay.
then I can screen share it next time.
All right, I'll send you some pictures then.
Okay, great.
Because, it's a challenge, and it's been actually kind of fun. So I get to use some of the so-called skills that we have. So,
Yep.
But it's been great.
Good. Hey, Gil, how about you? What have you been up to in the last month?
Working my butt off as an architect. I've got almost too much work to do, but so I haven't done a whole lot on my railroad, although I do have it pretty well set up for, we're going to have an op session the last Friday in March. So Dalen, Jack, get ready for that. And the building behind me is, you can see the gondola cars on I guess the left of me, that's my left side, and that hot steel slabs on the right. This is a rolling mill that I built. Had some good help from some other guys, but anyway, this is kind of an interior shot of that building. But somebody was saying they were having a hard time finding switches, Atlas switches. And last time I was in at the hobby stop in Orem, they had some switches there. It's been 3 weeks ago or more, so I don't know if they still do, but they did have some turnouts at that time.
Did you hear that, Jeff? I know you're on mute. It looks like he's on another phone call, so I'll remind him later.
Okay, great.
Okay, thanks. Ross Meredith, I'm not familiar with you on.
Yeah.
Is
you hear
your
me?
name Ross, or is it just the screen name?
No, it's my name, Ross Meredith.
Okay.
I'm kind of crashing your party today because I'm dying to learn something about wiring.
Okay, perfect.
I've been a longtime collector for probably 45 years. I finally decided that my wife finally granted me use of a 10 by 12 foot space that I can trash. And so I'm trying to build the deckwork in there now. Soon I'll be wiring, I hope, and then finally running some of the stuff I've acquired.
Great. That's always good to hear.
What scale?
And I hang out at the train shop too. Those guys are very helpful.
Okay,
And it's the right scale.
Charlie P. That reminds me of we're at work. We were talking about this. We've got two Matts, and there's Matt S and Matt P. And I said, well, growing up, there's always 3 or 4 Jims in my elementary school class, and I was always Jim W. And so anyway, go ahead, Charlie.
Well, I am installing a bathroom in the basement across from my train room. And so I haven't done very much of anything on the railroad.
Understand that. My wife's getting after me to finish the bathroom. I'm doing some grouting after this call. So I know what you're doing. Frank.
Hi.
On? Yeah, what have you been up to?
I had a heart valve replaced.
Oh, wow. That'll take up some of your time.
Yeah, for a little bit. But it's all back together again and I'm up running around. So
Okay, good.
I'm gonna get back to work on my layout. I had to replace all my switches so that I could run my Challenger.
Oh, yeah.
I'm down to the last one and I'm having a hard time getting it wired up. So I was hoping maybe today they would show us how to wire switches.
Okay, good. Brent, I mean, you have to unmute first. There you go.
Hello. I've been selling the remainders of Elvis Kaiser's Lionel tin plate trains for his daughters. And I currently have a 5x9 Lionel layout in the basement where I can run 2 trains. And when those go away in another month or 2, I'm going to start modeling an ON3 dead rail.
Oh, cool.
And I have a locomotive MMI K28, which is being shipped to me as we speak from Trenton, New Jersey, where it was converted to dead rail. So I'm going to be modeling Denver and Rio Grande, Chama to Cumbres, and ON3.
Do you know Lowell?
I do not.
Okay, he's doing ON30 dead rail. So we got a couple, I don't know if we call them deadheads. That's the dead rail guys. And I've been considering adding at least one. The thing that I learned about dead rail is like, it's not an all or nothing. You can add gradually and convert over or not, or just add 1 or 2. And so I like the idea. And so I might be joining you soon on that.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to your decal session here in a couple weeks?
Yeah, in April.
Okay. All right.
Well, there's 2. There's the in-person one at Blaine's. That's coming up. When is that, Blaine?
Second Saturday in March.
Okay, if you have to pre-sign up for, and that filled up really fast. If you're on that, that's in a couple weeks. And then Charlie's giving one in April on the Zoom call. So, okay, Colin, you on with us? You're on mute if you are.
Yeah, I'm on.
What have you been up to?
Well, for Christmas, I got an HO scale big boy.
Oh, nice. Do you have a layout to run that on?
Yeah, but we're trying to get the track all set up.
Okay, cool. Chris, are you on with us?
Yes, good morning. Yeah, Colin's my son. So we've been working on changing our layout. So
okay, there we go.
We in 2019 we've been going to the pizza box layouts with Blaine. So it's been really helpful to kind of learn some skills there. I mostly, as a kid, just did a lot of the basic setup. So we had a lot of the easy track modular tracks, and on a trapezoidal shaped table, we're running HO. It's about 10 by 12, but it's a weird shape around our furnace room. So we're trying to, we cleared that all off and then put in 2-inch foam. We're establishing a really nice loop, about 30-inch radius for the bigger stock that, then we're going to build an interior freight line and an exterior, like a mountain line. That's kind of going to go up in the grade a little bit. A little ambitious, but we want to at least be able to get him to run his big boy in some of those other bigger locomotives. So
where do you guys live?
In Riverton.
Okay. I know some of the big boys require bigger radiuses. My big boy is really old, and I think it's actually a little bit shortened. You know, it's not true to scale, and it can run on my 24-inch radius. But that doesn't mean it looks great, you know, on those sharp curves.
And that's what I was reading was, you can probably do it on some smaller radius, but I figured, well, if we're starting clean, so let's try it. We're using easy track, or flex track, I mean, to get a nice sweeping curves, nice smooth transitions with turnouts. so we're taking our best run at that. He got the promontory version.
Oh yeah.
Because we went and saw all that action in 2019, and that was a big deal for my son. So
yeah, that's cool.
So that's what we're trying to do. Right, and when we got the road bed down, cork bed. I only have a couple more turnouts to cut in, but we're gonna be looking at getting the track in and wiring pretty quick here.
New message is received from +1 240 317 3824.
All right.
Anyway, so
thanks. Okay, Steve, good to see you on the call. Do you have an update for us? What you've been doing lately? You're on mute, Steve. Maybe he stepped away. We can't see. I know he's been installing some turnouts lately because I've been building them for him. So I'm excited to see his layout finally get some steam going. Well, thanks everyone for those updates. I know Kevin's probably itching to go here, so let's move on into the clinic portion and we'll turn the time over to Kevin.
Okay, give me a minute. Got to get the screen brought up. So,
and Kevin does have a handout. I'll put it up on the website when I load the video later on, so you can refer back to it if needed. And also, as a quick update for Kevin, if you saw in the newsletter, he and Blaine received some certificates, and Kevin's at number 3, and he submitted for number 4, and he's really close to number 5, and then by doing this presentation, that helps him get points for number 6. So he's getting close to getting enough required for his MMR. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, here we go. I think I got it. Can everybody see that yet?
I see a blank page, but I see something came up.
Okay.
Welcome
There
to
we go.
by PowerPoint. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is my focus screen. So if I did it on a projector, I can put it up and focus it. So basic layout wiring. These pictures here show different models of command stations or power supplies. You're dealing with DCC or DC, different ones. The two on the left are DC power supplies by MRC. The one on the right is the Digitrax basic model, DCS52. And they all come with their own throttles already built into them. To start off with DC is very easy to use. It's pretty much plug and play type stuff. I'm not going to be dealing today with a lot of large layout stuff because I want to keep it basic, but you can pretty much just start with a loop, 2 wires to the power supply, 2 wires to the track, and you're set up. So it's very easy to start, and then you can run. And the thing with DC is that you're actually running the track and not the trains, because you're turning the power onto the track and to run the trains. With DCC, it's very easy to use. It's very simple. It has more options. Now you can get into sound. You can get into there's just so much with DCC. I'm going to try to keep it simple with that today as well. With the difference between DCC is the power to the track is always on. So now instead of running the track, you're actually running trains. You can put 2 trains on, run them back and forth together in the same block. You don't have to worry about having to set up separate blocks just to get things working. I need to iterate this. DCC is not DC. Okay, they do not play well together. If you want to run them, they take special needs, wiring needs to do it, because you don't want to take and cross things over to cause a short, because you will burn out a $400 to $500 DCC system if you try doing it. I always say, if you don't even try it. My recommendation is do not mix the two. That way you can know for sure that you're not going to fry anything. I'm going to be going with more DCC today. It encompasses so much. Like I said, it takes, I had to take and separate this into 3 different sections when I was first asked to do this because there's so much in it. Section 1 would be basic. Section 2 is intermediate. And the third section is advanced. Today, we are with the basic wiring. It doesn't matter what DCC system you have. Once you read your manuals, it's all the wiring beyond your system is the same for track, turnouts, reverse loops, everything. So it makes it very simple. For intermediate wiring, this is going to include things such as power districts, sub power districts, local net wiring, which is a Digitrax creation, and any accessories that go along with it. This is an example of an intermediate type setup. This is called a district in a box. It has a command station, 2 circuit breakers, and a local net repeater. So this is actually taken and made 2 sub-districts out of 1 using the 2 different circuit breakers on there. In the advanced wiring, I put in sections containing all of your fun stuff for lighting, sounds, animations, signals. This is all the fun stuff that you want to add later on because I put it in the advanced because each manufacturer has different requirements on how to set it all up. But today we are only going to deal with the basic. We can deal with intermediate and advanced on a whole other day. So I don't want to confuse anybody because there is so much on this. Okay. In basic wiring, I want to make sure that we adhere to the KISS principle. We need to keep it simple. And I have to remind myself of this quite often or else I can get carried away because on the stuff that I'm going to be covering today, I spent several months talking to other people as I was setting mine up, starting back in 2013. And it's just snowballed to the point that I've been able to get it all working together on this. To start out, we're going to need some basic tools. You're going to need some wire cutters, wire strippers, some medium slip jaw pliers, some lineman's pliers, needle nose pliers, and a good soldering iron. Very basic tools, but very much needed. Materials. We're going to be needing 2 different colors of stranded 12 to 14 gauge wire, 2 colors of 20 gauge solid wire, tap splices, also known as suitcase connectors. You'll need some solder, wire caps, and if you're doing modular sections or modules, you need to have a way of connecting those wires up to each other. Anderson power pole connectors work very well. They are actually in the standards for the N-scale Fremo as well. So they're very easy to use, very easy to set up. A little bit of vocabulary that goes along with DCC, if you're not familiar with it, is the power bus. The power bus is the main power line that goes from your command station to your layout. The feeder wires connect the track to your power bus. The local net bus is a Digitrax invention. It is what runs all your accessories, how your throttles will talk to the command station. We won't deal with that today. And then the command station is the brains of the whole system. I use Digitrax, and so when I say brains, it's almost like a small computer in itself. Every system is a little different. So when you get a command station, you need to read the manual on it to make sure you know how it all works. So first things first, we're going to need to run our feeder wires from the track. You've got your track down. You now want to get it all set up. So you're going to need to take your 20 gauge solid bell wire, which works really well for this. Your feeder is going to be about 6 inches long, but you want to cut them to start about 12 inches because depending on, you're only going to have the one bus line, but you could have multiple tracks going into that bus. So it's a lot easier to cut the wire than to add more wire later. So we're going to have 12 inches to start. You need to maintain your left and right rail, which means put your red on one rail, white on the other, and keep it that way. Do not switch them over or you'll end up with a short and it'll be a pain in the butt trying to figure out where to find it. When spacing your feeders, you want to keep them 3 feet to 6 feet apart from each other. That makes it so that you have a good continuity with your power to the rails. Next, once you get your feeders in place, you're going to get them ready for soldering. Strip the end of the wire about 1/4 of an inch, works very well. And you take your lineman's pliers and you're going to crimp the very end. This was shown to me by a gentleman out in Nebraska with the free mown group, the N-scale free mown group. And so I tried it out and it works very well. Once you crimp the end flat, you're going to bend it to a 60-degree angle. This actually makes it a lot easier to solder it to the rail. And makes it so that you don't need 3-4 hands to do it as well, but very easy to solder it. A little bit more area to actually for the solder to hold on to as well. Soldering, you need to have a very good soldering iron. The cheap ones that you can get at Walmart, they're okay. The ones at Harbor Freight, don't even go there. I went through so many of those. They don't get hot enough. If you get a cold soldering, it will most likely come apart, and then you're going to have fun trying to figure out why you don't have power to the track. Get a very good soldering iron. Make sure that it works well. Take and put heat sinks. I use alligator clips. A heat sink will if you put it on both sides of the area that you're soldering, it will direct the heat away from the ties and it'll help to keep the ties from melting. You're going to need a good solder as well. This is the solder that I used the last time I did some. It's a 0.05 inches with a 2% flux core. I found it worked very well. It went very smooth, and I didn't have to take and use a lot to be able to get the wires to hold. Now that we have all of our soldering done with the feeder wires, now we need to connect run the power bus. The main power bus is going to be your 12 to 14 gauge stranded wire. Best thing you can do is take and do a light twist, not a tight twist of them, just to help keep it nice and clean. You don't want more than 50-foot runs from your command station. If you've got a layout that's going to be long, that's large enough that you're going to have more than 50 feet, it's time to start thinking about power districts and getting boosters put in. So the reason is that anything beyond 50, the signal from the command station starts to degrade and you'll start to lose control of your locomotives. On the modules or modular sections, like I said, you need a way to connect the wires. These are the Anderson power pole connectors. They just snap together once you get them put on. They do require a special tool. The tool on the right is the crimper. I found them for about $30 on Amazon. So if you are going to go that route, you will need a special tool to connect these, but they work very, very well. Now we need to attach the feeders to the power bus. I use the Suitcase connectors. They're also known as IDCs or insulation displacement connectors or tap splices. You want to cut your 20 gauge feeders to about 6 inches or in their mid so that you can get them to fit. Sometimes you might need them a little bit longer. I've got a few that are up to 12 inches just to get them down to where everything fits. And you do not want to strip the ends of the wires on this at all. As you can see, once they get put together, they're nice and clean. Keeps the bird's nest and rat's nest down to control. On the IDCs, insulation displacement connectors or suitcase connectors, I've heard them called, all of them from the different suppliers. They're very easy to use. You slide the end over your main wire and then slide the smaller wire into the back. Once they're together, you take your pliers, crimp or squeeze the metal blade down over the wire, and that's why they're called insulation displacement, because they take and cut the insulation, making the connection. Once they are connected, you fold the top over like a suitcase, hence the suitcase connectors, and they snap together. If they don't snap together, take your pliers, squeeze it again until you can get it. Squeeze the blade a few more times, then try again until it snaps and it just clicks right into place. Where to get them? You can get them at different outlets. You've got electronics warehouses, Lowe's carries them, Ace Hardware carries them, Harbor Freight carries them, and I've also found them at an electrical supply like Duncan Electric and Woods Cross. So they are very common, and you can get them, and they are don't cost very much at all to get this. Other necessary items that you're going to be needing: zip ties. You need to be able to keep everything clean. Wire caps for the terminal ends, cable clamps, electrical tape. I used electrical tape when I did sub-districts just for me to be able to identify exactly which line that I'm working on, where it all goes. And so it just helps to keep track of what you end up doing. Here's some examples of some of the stuff that I did. I used the caps to end on the terminus for the wires. One thing you do not want to do is take and loop the wire back onto itself and connect to itself. So you want to end it. That also with the track, don't forget to insulate your track. And if you're going to have a loop, the DCC talking to itself will start to cause issues because it sends the packets and the information around both directions, and then they start getting confused. The cable clamps make it easy just to attach the wires to the underside and keep everything clean. Some do's and don'ts. Do not, like I said, do not connect your wire to a full loop. You want to take and for track loops, use insulated joiners. Keep the bus runs to 50 feet, no longer than 50. Anything over that diminishes your signal. Install your circuit breakers. If you're going to take and especially go into sub-districts, circuit breakers will actually help protect your command station. I found this out from other people that I talked to. There are several different brands out there. I use the DCC Specialties ones. They're very simple to use, very simple to set up. I put that into the intermediate just because we want to set up quick and easy. You also keep your DCC and DC separate. Do not mix them. You will destroy your DCC system, and it can become very expensive. Keep it clean. The picture on the left of those circuit breakers that I was talking about. The one on the right, you can see the rat's nest that came about from the wiring project that I messed with. Use your cable clamps, zip ties, keep it all clean. you want to be able to figure out what you did when something goes wrong and all that. Now let's talk about switches, because switches are an important part. We want to run feeders from both diverging points. Okay, so again, we keep the red and white wires to the left and right rails that you chose. And as you can see, the way I wire the switches from the photo, it makes it so much easier on that. The frog, most DCC friendly switches will have a dead frog. It's insulated. You don't have to take and wire it, but it is recommended to run a wire from that. Just it keeps the engines from stalling. That's all it is. If you're doing N scale, it's almost a must. I do both N and HO scale, so I know exactly how they're working, because engine stalling out over a switch becomes a pain in the butt. And then once you get your feeders soldered, attach them as before. The frog, when you attach all your feeders to the power bus, do not attach the frog to the power bus. You're going to be needing special electronics or switch motors or switch machines to do that. You've got different styles. The Tam Valley frog juicer that was introduced to me by Jim back in September. You've got the Blue Point switch machines, which I use on my N-scale modules. That has a DP-DT double pole, double throw switch inside of it that takes care of the power issue to the frog. You can use a tortoise switch machine that requires a little bit more, and then a plain old toggle switch. Now I just went through a whole lot of stuff. Time to keep it simple. One more time. The simplest method on this is to use the frog juicer and a Caboose Industries ground throw. How do I know this? Because I've actually installed one on the module. The Tam Valley frog juicers come in two different modes. You can get one that runs 2 switches or one that'll run up to 6 switches. They're easy to install, and it automatically controls the power. You don't have to throw any switches. You don't have to worry about it. It's actually, they say it's nanoseconds. Once a locomotive comes in, it changes the polarity immediately. The way you hook it up, you got 2 wires that run from the frog juicer to the power bus, and then you run the from the frog, the line into the frog juicer itself. Reverse loops. There are 2 different types of reverse loops. You got a return loop, as in the photo, and turntables. Yes, turntables are considered reverse loops. To do a return loop, it requires the insulating of the loop itself. As you can see in the photo, I used the insulated rail joiners on this so that once it goes around, it keeps the shorts to a minimum. To use a reverse loop, it's going to take some additional electronics. Digitrax makes an AR1, an auto reversing unit. DCC Specialties makes one as well. Tam Valley frog juicer, I found works really well for this. And that's what I used to install on that loop that you saw. The return loop, to use the Tam Valley frog juicer again, you got 2 lines that run from the juicer to the main power bus. From the loop, all it takes is the 2 wire feeders to the juicer, and it's done. It's automatic. You don't have to worry about switches. You don't have to worry about anything. Once the wheels of the locomotive hit the part that's been reversed, it automatically reverses the polarity of the rail, and with no problems. A turntable. Yes, turntables are reverse loops. Use the AR1 or the frog juicer again. You wire the bridge the same as the return loop. The power to the track from the bridge goes to the frog juicer, and it's an automatic thing. You don't have to worry about switches to turn things around. The reason why it's considered a reverse loop is because you can turn that bridge all the way around 360 degrees. So you'd end up with opposite polarity on the rails. That's pretty much what I was going to go through today. Is there any questions?
I have one on
Sure.
on doing the DCC. I just want to know if you can set it up so you can switch, like put a three-way toggle onto a bus or a splitter and have DC and DCC.
There is a way, but like I said, it takes special wiring considerations, and a lot of people end up frying something. With DCC, you actually, I know with Digitrax, you can actually run an analog engine or a DC engine on DCC with using the address 00.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can use, with Digitrax, you can use address 00 and run a DC locomotive. You don't want to have it sit, a DC locomotive sitting on a DCC track for a long period of time, because you'll hear a buzzing sound and it'll end up and ruining the engine over a longer period of time. But you can run a DC engine on a Digitrax DCC system.
It's easier with ring engineering.
Mm-hmm.
The Wasatch N-Scale Club has the capability of running DC and DCC at the same time, and we blew out a $300 decoder, and so now when we set up, we only run one mode at a time.
Yeah, like I said, it can get very, very expensive quickly if you tried running both.
So Charlie, is your question, Charlie, more about running one engine or the entire layout separately?
Mine's more about an entire layout. I've double looped my, before all this happened to me, I was double looping my train layout. I got an inner loop and an outer loop. Both have turnouts. And I was thinking, because I've done DC for so many years, but DCC would be a nice thing to do if I could save the money up for it. So
yeah, so one suggestion that I've seen a lot is, like Kevin's saying, is you don't want to run them, and even Mike, you don't want to run them at the same time. You can do a toggle switch to say, now the whole layout's on DC, and then toggle it, the whole layout's on DCC. So you're only really running one at a time, because you don't want to accidentally run it wrong.
That's correct.
So
would using a frog juicer or something else of that nature compound the problem significantly?
Well, yeah, actually, he brings up a great point, because the frog juicers do not work on DC. They're only DCC.
They wouldn't go up in flames, though.
They might.
More
Maybe
money
not
down the
flames.
drain.
Maybe not flames, but just stop working.
Yeah, well, that's
the same.
Close enough.
Okay, that gives me a lot of answers.
Yeah, so like Kevin was saying, if you have one locomotive that you just want to run, you can. It's kind of like address 0 is a DC layout within the DCC, because you can run one locomotive at a time on it, but it's harder on the engine, and it's better to convert it if you can. And that's where you can run your whole layout as DCC, and one at a time add a new locomotive as you get funds to convert it over.
Okay. So
or you could or you could install ring engineering and run the locomotive on either.
I think we have a couple people that are using the ring.
Okay.
That's a different clinic.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
And my question is, when's your next clinic? When the intermediate one?
That I don't know. I'd have to put it together. So
Give me a call when you want to do it, okay?
okay.
This is Ross. I just want to say thanks. That was very informative and I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Good.
It was a
Thank
great clinic.
Great clinic.